Picture in your mind a local business owner. What kind of qualities do they need to have to run a successful business?
Well, they have to be a hard worker. They have to be able to plan and achieve goals. They have to be willing to put in long hours. And they're passionate about doing the best job they can.
It turns out that the experience kids go through in 4-H and FFA programs is exactly like running a business. Raising farm animals helps kids learn valuable life skills and build strong character that will serve them their whole lives. Let's go chat with the poultry program leader to hear firsthand what actually goes on in the barns.
Curtis, why is the poultry program good for the kids?
It teaches them responsibility. They are responsible for a being, a live being, and they need to take care of that animal and make sure that it's fed, watered, and comfortable so that they can produce a quality product that the poultry industry is looking for. Another reason it's important is it's their first exposure to work-based learning. So they're learning about the poultry industry through raising that animal.
What would you like people to understand about the poultry program?
For those kids, fair starts long before they get here onto the fairgrounds. They're with that bird when it hatches, they're with it all the through the growth stage and getting it ready to produce a quality product.
What actually goes on in the barns during the fair?
It's their first chance to really start to market their animal. So they're going to make sure that it's clean, they're going to make sure it's well fed, they're going to make sure that it's well watered and that it's comfortable and that the fans are on it because it gets kind of hot here at fair.
You've heard a bit about the poultry program as a whole, but how do the volunteers who lead individual clubs feel about the program? You're about to see.
How do you see this program as helping kids?
I think it offers a variety. And it can reach kids that otherwise you don't reach in school.
What actually goes on in the barns during the fair?
We have basically 3 different entries for poultry. We have eggs, the show birds, and the market class. And so the kids, if they're bringing their eggs, they'll bring a dozen eggs. If they're show bird, they'll bring a fancier breed. And if it's a market, it's usually a pen of birds or it's a market turkey. But they'll go through a health screening. The birds are weighed. That's really important for different classes. And then they're penned, so ready for the judge.
As you can see, club leaders love being able to coach their kids in what it takes to raise a great animal. But what's the experience like for kids themselves? Let's find out. So tell us about this year's poultry project.
So this year I bought 7 birds from a hatchery up north, and so far they have seemed to be growing perfectly. I take them for nightly walks and I try to care for them the best I can. I usually refill their water and morning and night just to try to keep them to stay hydrated as possible. I also give them fresh food constantly just to make sure no bacteria grows, just to keep them healthy throughout this year.
What do you do during the fair to show your poultry project?
So the main part about showing my bird happens before the show, not during the show. I have to clean the bird, which usually involves a bird bath, which the birds do not appreciate at all. And then I bring them to the fairgrounds and I set up a little pen for them with food and water. And then the show usually happens. It takes about 30 minutes. I walk my bird around the pen and the judge decides which the best bird is depending on the breast meat and the structure of the bird.
And what is the most important and the most difficult part of your poultry project?
The most important and the most difficult part has to be keeping them alive. The heat is really bad for meat birds, and this heat that we've been having over the past few years has been catastrophic for some of my birds.
Well, there you have it. Great people and volunteers help to make great kids that become our employees and leaders in the future.